Welcome back to the channel, YouTube. I'm James, and I'm the Con,
And I'm Bobby, the bot.
and together we are... Okay, so TFCON was about 2 weeks ago, so we've had some time to digest what happened and our experiences, so we thought we would update you guys and let you know a little bit about our experience. So we're going to be talking about the good, the bad, and the weird of TFCON 2023 in Los Angeles. So I'm going to go off and start off with the good first. Of course, there's always buying stuff and that type of stuff. That's always going to be in the good. The customizing class was really fun. But I think the biggest thing was getting to catch up with you, Bobby, and a few other people that I usually only see in person at these conventions. So that was the best thing for me. You know, hanging out with you guys is always fun. It's not something I typically do in my personal life, so it was a lot of fun to just kind of be around others, especially with a similar mindset. And the other good thing was filling gaps in my collection. I filled about, 3 or 4 gaps that I needed, and now those collections for those figures are done. So I'm very happy to have done that. And that is my good. There was a lot to talk about, honestly, with good, and I kind of had to cut it down. So that's what I'm going with. Now, what was your good of TFCon?
So my good, of course, is going back to California. I'm originally from California, so I'm a San Diego kid. So it's always good to go back home. 2, hanging out with you. You know, it's always a pleasure as well. So my sentiments are exactly the same there. And just like you said, you know, meeting up with people that we've met at other conventions and talking to some of the vendors and just people in general. The highlight, though, comes with getting the chance to meet Peter Cullen. And that was really cool because I met him indirectly in Chicago and he remembered me. And so we didn't have any interactions in Chicago, but when I saw him, he said, "You again?" And I asked him, I was like, "You mean from Chicago?" He's like, "Yeah, the Chosen Prime booth." And I was like, "Yeah." So that was really kind of cool. The other highlight was he signed my shirt, and we had our custom shirts on representing the channel, Bot versus Con, of course. And on the front, as you see, it says, "I'm the bot." Well, he actually signed it to Bobby, and then it says, "I'm the bot," and then underneath Peter Cullen. So it was really funny when he did that. We laughed a lot. And then the final piece of my Peter Cullen story is during the panel, once he came off of stage, everyone was standing up, you know, applauding him, and he came by and gave me a high five. And so it just made me feel like me and Peter Cullen are, you know, friends, you know, to a certain degree. So that was my highlight. Couldn't believe it. It was really exciting. And one of the people that I met in line was actually kind of shaking his head like, "Wow, that's pretty cool. He knows you." And I should have played it off a little bit better. Like, yeah, me and Peter Cullen hang out on the weekends and stuff. But in this case, I didn't.
Well, yes, and I thought that was really cool as well. When I heard that story, and I'm like, crap, I should have went in. He probably would have remembered me too.
Yeah.
So now let's get into, unfortunately, the bad. Now, there wasn't much bad. The first thing is how crowded it was. Even at right when you walked in and we had the, you know, premium passes, so we were able to get in early. Those where the bins were, I believe at Toy Arena and a few other places, you could not look through those bins unless you waited there for like 5-10 minutes for the person to move in front of you that's going through every single figure, and then you go be that person for 5 to 10 minutes going through every single figure. Now, I was able to find some really good stuff in those bins on the second day, but on the first day, I almost didn't buy anything in those. And that's, to me, the most fun part of TFCon buying stuff is going through those plastic bags. I have a lot of fun trying to see what I can find and what I can salvage. Now, the second thing with the bad has to do with this figure, which I actually got from one of those bins, which is BotCon Bonsaitron. And as you can see, he's missing this gun right here. And that's because one of the tabs snapped off. You probably won't be able to see it unless I zoom in too much. You see, there's only one tab. There's supposed to be two. So that broke off. It was broken in the package. They had a plastic rubber band, the see-through rubber band around it, so it stayed in place. So I was like, oh, it's fine. It's all in one piece. I got to the hotel room, opened it off, and this just popped off. So that is my second bad. Luckily, I'll be able to glue it together fairly easily. And I'm honestly going to glue this one on too because it pops off way too easy. So, fixable, but still a disappointment. What about you, Bobby?
So, like you, from your good, I was able to actually fill some holes in my collection as well. But this is where the bad comes in at. And anyone who knows, I have the worst luck with figures and QC issues, it seems like. Maybe it's because of how many I buy, I don't know. But I have been looking for a Rodimus, Nemesis Rodimus, forever. And you can see here, there is a gap because the piece is broken. Now, what makes this even worse is that this was supposed to be in a sealed box, because I asked. And of course, the tape looked fresh and everything, but see that leg? Nope. And I wasn't able to open anything until I got home from my trip to San Diego as well. So that's been this week of the 22nd, actually, or 21st. The other thing I picked up was a red sore, and
didn't know it was that bad.
And so, again, QC issue. The leg, it was actually in here, so it looked fine. And as soon as you picked it up and tried to do anything, the pin or the bar right here is actually broken. And so I have a message out to the vendor that I bought this from, and I won't say their name, and a message out to Fans Toys to see if there's a replacement. So QC issues definitely took over for me.
I think we have the same issue in that part, but luckily there wasn't much bad besides that. So now let's get into the weird. And with the weird, I have two figures that I wanted to talk about that go together, and that's the exclusives. Because you cannot tell me somehow somebody was putting these two guys together. They both got that baby blue. They both got that yellow. They're both from G2-ish. It is striking how good they go together. And I really enjoy that. It reminds me, honestly, of the old TFCON days when you'd have the whole set and it would all be one story. And my mind just goes wild thinking about these stories. So that's my weird, because it's not something I was expecting. I mean, all of the TFCONs before this that we went to, they've been completely separate exclusives. And it seems like they're really like hand in hand. And another thing that's weird about that is Hasbro released images of their G2 Grimlock, which was very, very weird and coincidental. And we're not even going to talk about the other G2 things that they were following us around with little speakers, seeing what we wanted, because that's what it seems like is happening.
Exactly. Artificial intelligence was definitely in the room there.
With our phones. Oh my God, look at this Toxitron. Oh, well, here's a Toxitron.
Exactly.
Thank God I didn't. They had a custom Toxitron, guys, for $120. And this guy painted it. It looked gorgeous, and I almost bought it. Thank God I didn't, because I would have been so butthurt with the new Legacy one coming out, because at that scale, it wouldn't have been worth it.
That was funny. I was right with you when you were looking at it, and I could see you were like, no, yes, no,
yeah. Just grabbing my arm back.
Yeah, exactly. So my weird kind of describes my trip. So one, the weather was crazy. It rained and it rained and it rained. And what's bad is, usually this time of year, Atlanta is cold. And, I always love going to California because it's warm, shorts, whatever. And it was the reverse. It was cold in California and hot in Atlanta. Crazy. The other aspect of it was my travel. So, as somebody who booked the hotel through a site, my company site, and I had an event the week before in Dallas. And so the person who booked my travel actually thought I meant for Dallas and did not book my hotel for LA. So I didn't find out until I was probably an hour out from the hotel that I didn't have
Not even an
a room.
hour out. You
Yeah,
texted me
30 minutes.
30 minutes before you arrived.
So, needless to say, I am glad I have friends because I was not able to get a room until Saturday. And so I hung out with James a lot the first couple of
Yes.
nights, let's just
Yes.
say that.
Yes.
So that was really weird. And on my flight leaving LA to go to San Diego, again, I was supposed to fly out of Burbank, and Delta, I'm going to call them out on this. Delta booked me for flying out of LAX. So the hotel that was across the street from the hotel, which I went to and was there in 5 minutes and tipped pretty good on, I had to end up catching an Uber out to LAX and hang out at the airport for 5 hours. So very, very, actually longer than that, 7 hours. So extremely unusual circumstances for me. Usually travel isn't a problem. Usually weather isn't a problem. But those were the things that really stood out to me. And I think also it was unusual to have, with all of these things being said, it was so unusual to have such a great time, having so
Yeah.
many things happen. I had a blast at TFCON. James, I don't know if you feel the same way. I think you do.
I did.
I had so much fun. There were so many things that could have downed the trip. The third party exclusives, there wasn't a lot announced, but I think we had made so many connections and had so many conversations with people that we've known or that we didn't know, that Bot versus Con is here to stay, I think, for a while.
Yeah, yeah, we had a great time. Definitely. I mean, it was a trial, especially when you came in and your voice was not your voice because it was dry. I could tell, but
oh yeah,
I had an amazing time, and I will be looking forward to the next TFCon. Whenever that will be. I think we both know when it was, so stay tuned to our channel and we'll have some information on that.
Yeah. So thanks for checking us out again, as always. This wasn't necessarily a debate, so can't say if anybody won, but thanks for
we both won.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And stay tuned because we'll be showing off what we picked up from TFCON.
Yeah, we both got quite a bit. So let's stay tuned and we'll see that. So subscribe if you want to see that. Like this video, please, and comment and let us know if you win at TFCON. Let us know, and maybe we'll hook up at the next time and we'll be able to discuss some Transformers.
And I met a couple of people at TFCON, so please, if you're a subscriber, give us a shout out. I'd love to recognize you and talk about things that we talked about in line.
Yep. Yeah, let's do that. All right.
All right.
See you later, guys.